Commission meeting to order. Commissioner Sutton, please, the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. First item on our agenda, we have the second reading, possible adoption of ordinance 137, the Hanson rezone.
Carly? I'll move it. Second.
We have a motion by Sutton, a second by Pfeiffer to approve the second reading, possible adoption of ordinance 137. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You want to do just a couple things?
Yeah, we can go through a few of the items. We have minutes.
Move. Second.
Move the Louise, second by Sutton, to approve the general meeting minutes from June 18th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Claims and payroll.
Move. Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Pfeiffer, to approve claims and payroll. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
HR report.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Pfeiffer, second by Kipley, to approve the HR report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
211 information system funding.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by Sutton, to, I believe, authorize the chair to sign the
Yeah,
agreement
yep.
For the 211 information system funding.
And
All
if
in
I'm
favor?
clear, that doesn't commit any money from us right now, it's just the pass-through, and it looks like the United Way's funding it.
Yeah, United Way funding, yep.
Yeah, we're sponsoring organization.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Legal assignment.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Kipley, to approve the legal assignment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Set hearing date for ordinance 138, the patent rezone, going to mini-ag.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Kipley, to set the hearing date for ordinance 138, patent rezone, to going to mini ag. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Surplus sale revenue assignment.
Move. Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Weiss, to approve the surplus sale revenue assignment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Lottery permit.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Pfeiffer, second by Weiss, to approve the lottery permit. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Bingo permit.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by Sutton, to approve the bingo permit. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Fair board bylaw changes.
Move. Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Weiss, to approve the Fair Board bylaw changes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Fair contracts.
Move. Second.
Moved by Pfeiffer, second by Weiss, to approve the fair contracts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We need to advertise rebidding the hayland at the fairgrounds. The gentleman who has it now did not exercise the option to renew.
I'll move it. Second.
Moved by Pfeiffer, second by Sutton, to authorize advertising for the Hayland fairground lease option. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's everything that I have.
Yeah, we have just a couple minutes to... I think we're all waiting. Mr. Wanty, you want to step up, Doug, and we'll
Sure.
go through yours. We're about less than half a minute off.
Okay. My name's Doug Wynton with the Eldez Shrine. This is Devin Wright. He's past potentate of the Eldez Shrine and the Director General of this year's Midwest Shrine Association, which is bringing about 1,500 to 2,500 Shriners, wives, families to Aberdeen. We're having two parades. The first parade is on July 1st, Thursday evening, coming from Presentation Heights down Main Street, and we'd like to end right on the other side of the railroad tracks. And at the end of the parade, we generally have a little oasis some water, some beer, a little bit of food, just a little gathering for the guys at the end of the parade. And we're requesting permission to use this gravel lot over here with the blue building on it. And speaking with Gary Vedder, on the west end of the building is emergency management access. And if so approved, that would need to be blocked off, which we would certainly follow whatever request you would have. So we're just basically asking permission to use that gravel lot for that evening for a few hours. We will have A1 sanitation with dumpsters, and I believe we're working on porta potties, that sort of stuff, to just make it as clean as possible as we can. So that's basically it in a nutshell.
When is the date?
July 1st. The parade will kick off about 5 p.m. August 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, not July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Kick off about 5 o'clock in the evening and come straight down Main Street, much as the Gypsy Day Parade.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll end right at the other side of the railroad tracks. So that's what we're looking at, and we're requesting permission from the Brown County Commission to use that lot.
Will anybody be able to go on the lot?
Basically, it'll be open to anybody, yeah.
Well, it'd be
Well,
all
Shriners.
registered Shriners.
Yeah.
So if they're if they're registered to come to the event, we'll have to rope it off and block it off, and we'll have a tent and whatnot up there. So yes, we'll be checking credentials as people come in through there.
But families in there too?
Yes.
So is
Do we
there-
have any liability?
I
as far
didn't
as
know.
Being on county property, do you have to provide some kind of liability insurance?
We do. I have our policy that I'll give to Mr. Vedder at the end, saying we are insured up to $1 million per incident, as was requested. So.
Our office has a lease, the insurance requirement, and we'll just do our normal process with them.
Okay.
So that's basically it in a nutshell. With the tent, we wouldn't be driving any stakes or anything in the ground or anything like that, would we?
Not that big a deal.
No, I mean, if going into a gravel lot, it'd probably be easier to drive stakes, but we want to avoid that. We
Get away, we have a
avoid
permit
it.
for
No,
it.
that's
Yeah, I would advise probably, you never know if you hit
We also have a permit for
a
that.
shallow
There should be.
cable or something. I would find yourself something where that stands.
Yeah, what we'll probably do is like they do at Arts in the Park, get the 50-gallon barrels and fill them up with water, and then just tie off to that.
What time of the day? Early in the morning?
Evening.
Or in the evening?
The parade will start at 5, but we'll probably have the tent set up earlier in the day.
I'd like to be able to set the tent up either the day before or that morning right away, or kind of get everything ready.
Are you going to be selling the beverages, or are you
No.
going to be giving?
No, it'll be given away.
Okay.
No, that's just a thank you for coming to play in Aberdeen, South Dakota.
Mhm. I guess I'd move it. We need a motion.
Second.
Moved by Pikert, second by Weeds, to authorize the Elders Shrine to lease the parking lot on August 1st.
I need to ask a question. I'm a Shriner. Do I need to abstain? I'm just asking.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
No, I don't think you have any,
Okay.
any interest
Okay.
for
Just
sure.
didn't want to vote and have it be illegal vote.
Are you worried about if you stop over there, they might give you a beer?
He gets to come and do the welcome.
There you
I
go.
just want full disclosure. I am a Shriner.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Doug.
Thank you.
Now you're official, so it's all good.
Yeah, good to go.
Let the beer flow.
We got about 2 minutes. Gary, you got anything that?
Did you all get a chance to look at the appraisal for the Mellon building yesterday?
I looked through it, yep.
Was everybody good with paying him? I got the invoice.
The question I have, originally it was $266,000, and they knocked $66,000 off of the roof.
Right.
Well, it was just the small roof that is damaged, it's not the big roof. It seems like it's an awful lot to
Apparently
be.
it was both because there was some leakage in the garage
Okay.
that they seen.
Well, I was here yesterday and talked to Judy, she says that other roof wasn't
what she
replaced that long
claimed,
ago, that's
yeah.
why I
I
wondered.
don't know.
Seems like an awful lot to deduct for the roof.
That's what the company gave them, I guess, so.
I always like nice round numbers.
Yeah.
So if you're good with getting the invoice processed, I'll get that going tomorrow, today or tomorrow.
We're using the statutory
What was it, though?
requirement.
Part of the deal.
$4,200.
I'll move approval to pay the appraisal bill.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Kipley, to approve paying the bill for the appraisal on the Millen Building. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Just for clarification, that will go through next week's bill.
Yeah.
Did that come out of commission budget?
Yes.
Unless we can take it out of the auditor's budget.
Oh, that's fair.
Okay, 8:55, discuss the sale method of the Millen Building. What are the thoughts?
Cash, small, unmarked bills.
So is it two options? Is it either we auction it or we just throw it in the paper and the first person to, what are our options?
Sealed bids.
Sealed bids are an open auction.
Listed with the realtor? You can certainly, do sealed bids or hire a realtor, or do have we've had, big fishback auction properties off in the past for a flat fee. It's kind of up to you how you want to go about it. However you think you're going to get the most out of it.
In either way, you set a minimum.
Yes. Yeah, you can always say you're not going to automatically take the bids given.
We always reserve the right to reject any or all bids.
Right.
Has Judy gotten a number on the remodel up here yet?
No, they were all met yesterday. She called 4 different companies to come in, and they met at one, and they were going to give us some estimates, or I guess something that was closer to the dollar amounts than rather than where we were at. So I suspect maybe the next Tuesday she'll have some of those numbers back in as far as what the cost is going to be to do what she wanted over there.
And I guess that's part of this discussion too, is how fast do you think we can actually set a date to take bids?
Now, what do you do with,
to put
I
it
thought
out?
about that yesterday, what do you do with 24/7 until this job's done up here? That's kind of why I asked the question.
The requirement that Judy put in, for the quotes, is that has to be done by November 1st.
So they wouldn't be able to take possession over there until November 1st.
And I don't know, there again, if you got a company that comes in, they may be done September 1st. You don't know, it just depends on how busy the company is and how things flow, but that was a requirement, that it had to be done by November 1st.
And I guess that could be worded in the sale notice too, that depending upon completion, or somehow word it, that
Could happen November 1st would be the deadline, but it could be October 1st, depending on how construction went over there, so.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Upon completion of the remodel, or November 1st, whichever
somehow
comes
word
first.
it into the,
Well, what's a better deal for us hiring Vic to do a live auction or just the advertising cost of the bids? What is the price tag on each of those, do we know? I don't remember what.
I suppose an auctioneer is going to get a percentage probably, unless you get him to set a fixed number.
Yeah, he's been doing a fixed amount the last couple that he did. It was like a couple thousand, if I
thought it was
remember.
3,000,
Maybe
but I could be wrong.
3,000.
Like if we advertise sealed bids, it would just be our publication cost, maybe $200. But then we don't have, the professional services to go with it.
I just wonder if, like one of the auction companies, if how far out they would reach as far as advertising is compared to, and I suppose it could get out on the website somewhere too.
And we have advertising costs even if Vic does it too. He has publication things and stuff that we always paid for too, on top of the flat fee.
If we did sealed bids, could we ask Vic to be the closing agent, or handle the legal part of it?
Sure.
Ask for a quote on that? To just handle the closing and so on?
Okay, I can ask him that and get you an answer for next week's meeting.
We did sealed bids, but we want to move our time frame up in case we don't get any sealed bids, then we would have an alternate plan, because if we wait till November, it might get a little late to change. I guess my thought would be is do sealed bids and put a deadline on prior to November 1st, and then, you know, kind of how that turns out, we may end up hiring Vic or somebody to get the results we want, I guess, is what I'm looking at. I don't know.
Well, as long as we advertise that it's not available until November 1st or when the remodel's done, you know, we could
Do it anytime.
set a date of August 1st. That way you have August, September, October to figure out Plan B if you don't get any sealed bids.
That's kind of what I was going with. I think that would be...
The sooner we get it advertised, we kind of know what interest there is. And
Well, if you want to go that route, I'll work with Carly and we'll start doing a bid document get that moving forward.
And we gotta think of what we would be happy with, what's our minimum that we
Yeah.
would, appraised value is
200 grand. I'd be happy with that.
I think there's a lot of potential. There's, you know, there could be some contractors out there or with those garages and stuff, you know.
We've had inquiries too about it, so there's interest in the building.
Now, there are some other costs there too that Chris brought up, and I think one of them is, and I forget what they are, I would have to ask Chris too, but I think one of them was the water meter or something, that the water that they use over at the weed department
Right.
is hooked to the...
Shop, yep, the electric and the water.
And electricity.
Both have to be redone.
That somehow has got to be, maybe we should get an estimate cost on that too.
Judy was working on that yesterday. I talked to Judy, and she
I think she got
was
the
being
water well already.
approximate on the water, and then she was going to call an electrician and find out what it would take to trench back to there. And the question she had is, does weed and pest share the electricity with a pound? Is there two separate? Because if that's the case, she wants to tie it all in together. So she was going to do some checking with a electrical contractor and see what it was going to be approximate to do that. So she's working on that.
And the water deal
Yeah, the
too.
water too. She's working with somebody from the city of Aberdeen.
Yeah, it sounded like they were gonna run it from the railroad
Right.
back. There's a water main back there.
so hopefully by next week we'll have some numbers on all of it.
Sounds good.
If you guys can do some preliminary work on the documentation and stuff, we can consider it, put it back on the schedule for next week to discuss.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Next item, Mr. Bader, Planning and Zoning plats.
Good morning.
Scott?
Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. There was 3 plats that we had with stipulations. I don't know, they just bundled up normally, or?
Which 3 are you looking at?
The Keno plat.
There's a plat summary in the packet as well.
And the Gallagher,
138.
and the Prairie Hill. All the other ones were fine. But on the Keno plat, I recommend moving that forward. They wanted an easement put between some buildings, between the 2 lots. And the surveyor has done that and presented a new front page. So the Keno plat was done, if you guys want to approve that.
So we have the new one here.
I think it has the easement drawn on the bottom between the 2 lots.
Access easement?
Yep.
What's the location on that?
That's down by Warner, west of Warner. And then, Prairie Hill subdivision, the way it was explained to me, it sounded like it was,
a family member that was purchasing the farm, but it turns out that it's not a family member and they don't meet the family unit requirements, so they would have to rezone. So they came in yesterday and got that squared away, so the Prairie Hill can go forward. And then the last one was Gallagher plat. It's in addition to Bath, and the problem that they have with that is Main Street goes through that property. Let me grab one here. So the township, when they signed it, and seeing that his lot basically blocks off Main Street from going through, they asked what they could do, and I said they could request easement or have the right-of-way dedicated. So they were talking to him about that, John Gallagher, and then Pat Schumacher from NBC Cable is going to buy one of the lots to put up a substation, the small lot. I don't know if it's lot 2 or lot 1. But that easement, you know, I recommended that they dedicate the right-of-way rather than the easement, and a couple of the reasons why is navigation systems now, they would show that as a property line rather than the right-of-way.
Right.
And they're getting to be more and more popular all the time. If there's 911 calls, they're not looking up the easements.
Yep.
You know, and having street signs and stuff is a better scenario. And then another thing is, can the townships maintain easements rather than right-of-ways? That I don't know. So them were the three things that I brought up, that the easement would run it through so that NBC can purchase its lot and continue with what they're doing. But in the long term, the right-of-way is a better scenario.
Especially for government entities. I mean, if it's for a private citizen and they're just maintaining access to an adjacent piece of property, but if it's a government unit, it really ought to be set up as a right-of-way.
Yeah, and that Main Street, to get to them houses across the track to the south, if they close that off, then they always have to go to the east and come down the gravel road and then come back in, so.
Should have always been right away, you know, all along.
30 or 40 years that it's been used, and
I think actually, technically, it becomes a right-of-way after 20 years if the public's been using it.
yeah,
So,
they're gonna try to see if he'll volunteer to dedicate it as right-of-way rather than going after a condemnation. Yeah, but like I say, the easement right now is the quickest way, so I'm not really sure how to treat this. I guess the township and the commission, I guess, would, you know, have
has
their
there been
final say.
correspondence with the township about it?
Yep, I talked to them this morning.
Oh, where are they at with it?
Well, they said that originally they talked to Gallagher about the easement. They weren't thinking of the other stuff. And he's gone until Friday. So he was out of the office last week and this week. And we can, if you wanted to, we can approve the plat and then hold it back from filing it with the deeds office until the easement got cleared up or the dedication. But my recommendation was to approve the easement and then come back next month with that large lot to dedicate the right-of-way, if that's the direction we're going on that.
I think that's the way we should go.
But that gets that transfer done so they can move forward with that part of it. It still doesn't hold the rest of it up.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
If he's not interested in dedicating the right-of-way, what would the suggestion be? Hold back?
Well, I think Dennis has got a point. You might want to check with the state's attorney's office. It may already de facto be according to state law.
You might want to check that first, and then...
Say not to press the issue, but if, state law already dictates that if it's been used for that purpose for that period of time,
Yeah.
let's clarify that, and,
That may help make up his mind, his decision, if he knows that state law dictates that it's already just referred to right away.
I can't imagine if why would he have an objection to it? I can't imagine.
There's a post office there, that small building, and the space that is rented to them might be an overlap with the proposed 66 feet. And I don't know if that lease can be rewritten. That's what the township supervisor said this morning. He thought there might be an overlap on that.
by how much, we can make an exception to the 66 feet if that's a way to accommodate, just to get the right of way for that.
So the post office building is on part of the, or part of the...
Private land also.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Okay.
Well, the traffic's going by, so if we, you can make an exception to the width if necessary.
It sounds like planning and zoning was kind of lax back in those days.
There's a total lack of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably even before we had ordinance adopted.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But they think with wheat growers and stuff and the railroad, it's somewhere between 30 to 40 years that it's been a main street.
Mhm.
Right.
Like I said, you can possibly, consider an exception to the width to accommodate that if necessary.
Yeah, it's 80-foot Main Street right-of-way north of Railroad Avenue is 80 foot wide.
Yeah.
I told them they don't need 80 feet, 66 is...
Yeah, just do
And
that.
south of there, it's 66 feet. I suppose.
South of there is like a 40-foot easement or something, so the township didn't know that either, so we're gonna look into trying to get the right-of-way squared away on them houses to the south too.
Scratch the surface.
Yeah, so that, but is that the consensus?
I think that's the right way to clean it up, I think, going forward, and then, consider some exceptions for practical application of trying to get it cleaned up for the width.
Right.
It's not like it's all of a sudden gonna be heavily traveled.
Yeah, that way they can have
It's all
a
local
street
traffic.
sign there and everything too. And
Yeah, it's all local traffic, so.
Yep. Works for me.
Okay.
Motion approved? Yes, it goes on. Move it.
Second.
Moved by Kempley, second by Sutton. Approve all three.
Yeah. There's like 10.
Approve the
Yep.
plat.
With the three sticks.
Yeah, there's quite a few this month.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Keep being creative.
Charlie, do you have anything for us?
If you guys are done with everything else, I think we have some exec stuff to talk about.
Oh, good.
Contracts, personnel, and Chris is here too. There might be some proposed and pending litigation.
Move we go into exec?
Second.
Moved by Sutton, second by Weiss, to go into exec for personnel and legal.
Contracts and legal.
Contract proposed for pending litigation.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
All three.
Good morning.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Out of exec, and no action as a result. Do you have anything else for us, Ken, to come up while we were...
I don't think so. Just next week, since we're closed for the 4th of July and Friday, we'll be asking department heads to submit their payroll much sooner than normal.
Okay. The only thing I had is I'll get with Scott Mites. The Westport community is having their 4th of July on the 29th of June. They always have it early. They like to close off their main street from 2 to 6 like they always have. They have board games and that type of thing, and that's a community center right out in front of the community center. So I thought I'd bring that up, and I will call Scott Mites and let him know that if there's an emergency, they have to just take the round back way around. Is that-
I think that's what we've done in the past.
Yep. So,
And they can chalk the street if they want.
anything else coming before the commission?
Move to adjourn.
Back.
Moved by Sutton, second by Weiss to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.